Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with part 16 of our F124 driver career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Temple of Speed. It's time for the Italian Grand Prix, the home of Ferrari, the home of just raw horsepower, and because of that I'm hoping this weekend we can try and have a big result as well. But yeah, as we get to 2/3 distance though this season, we've actually made a big call between ourselves and the team. We are going to be trying to save up all of our R&D now between now and the end of the campaign to hopefully set ourselves up if we get some rule changes for Season 2. Hulkenberg is still looking around. I think he wants to do one more durability upgrade in the coming weeks as well. But yeah, we're going to be trying to save up all of our R&D ready for next season. Of course, ultimately, we're looking pretty safe in the constructors at the moment, unless Kick Sauber have a, absolutely staggering run of form towards the end of the year. We should be able to get the better of them, and obviously there's no chance we're going to beat out McLaren or Aston Martin or anybody like that before the end of the season. It's a big gamble, but I think it is hopefully going to pay off in the longer term future as well. You see, we are now the undisputed #1 as well within the Haas Formula 1 team. Specialist though for this weekend, we are going to try and complete 4 sessions. I mean, we've already got the maxed out level, so I don't know really why we're worrying too much. We're going to try and reach 175 miles an hour. We should be able to do that probably in 1 lap. And then also we'll do complete a lap using at least 2 sets of tyres. And last but not least, we will go with 1 perfect practice program as well there. So plenty of specialist work going on as well. But yeah, obviously this isn't the final race in Europe now, because of course next time out we're in Baku. But yeah, hopefully around a track that is kind of like our home Grand Prix. Obviously has to have a base in Italy. We can try and get a big result.
It's the fastest track on the calendar. The grandstands are awash with Ferrari red. It's time for practice here in Monza. Welcome along.
Well, although we aren't going to be bringing any more major upgrades to the car between now and the end of the season, it certainly doesn't mean that R&D is any less important to try and pick up during the final third of this campaign. Also, I forgot to mention it in the intro, please do make sure you get yourselves subscribed as well. We are mighty close now to 130,000 subscribers. I'm aiming for 150k by the end of the year. I don't know whether that's realistic or not, but there's no point doing this, if you haven't got goals that you want to achieve as well. So yeah, if you are enjoying the daily Formula 1 content, then it would be greatly appreciated. But yeah, obviously trying to make sure we get our track acclimatization lap underway. MONZA on this year's game actually does feel quite good, especially with how pointed the car is through the Lesmos. Up over the line, we only just get the first purple score. Well, I'm always surprised actually when I come back to MONZA as to just how hard this track is on the tyres, rather weirdly, because you don't really think you're doing a lot to them around this circuit, but apparently that is not the case as we make our way through the final corner. Only just, I believe, going to get the purple.
For over a century, the Temple of Speed has all come down to moments like this. Driver versus the stopwatch to set the grid for the Grand Prix. It is qualifying at Monza.
Well, this place is really like a circuit like no other in the world of Formula 1. We're back here for qualifying the Autodromo Internazionale di Monza, rolling on the throttle as we get out of the final corner. I've got no idea where we're going to qualify here. I mean, this track, I guess, is similar to Canada and Belgium, and both of those races went pretty well for us. It's 217 miles an hour down in towards Turn 1. But ultimately, yeah, battery management around here is going to be really difficult to really kind of fine-tune. So it is going to be a session of learning as well. I think it's safe to say, yeah, we've used a bit too much battery in the first half of this lap. Pretty much down at 10% then, as well. We're purple in Sector 1, purple in Sector 2. 4 seconds up on Logan Sargent. So I think that ring that we saw when Alex Jakes was doing some commentary has only just subsided here as we make our way down into the final corner. This first lap might not really be much of a representative whatsoever. In fact, we might end up on pole, well, provisional pole, by like 2 seconds out of the final corner up towards the line. On 1:20.4 is fastest of anybody. Well, less than a minute left on the clock. Then Carlos Sainz has been our only benchmark, and he's gone nearly a second clear of me. So I think we need to try and find a little bit more time here, as I'm expecting the times to just start tumbling as everyone else now getting onto a proper run. We need to try and use up some battery though back down towards the first corner. I'm a little bit annoyed the fact the DRS zone now is not matching up with where the sign is in towards that first turn, but yeah, it is going to be about sacrificing a little bit of pace in a couple of spots to have a little bit more battery around the rest of the lap there, but 3/10 down already. So we bobbled off the first curb is really not helpful. Ocon unable to go clear of me. Charles Leclerc goes to the top of the board, but really, yeah, it is a question of how many other drivers are going to be able to find a little bit more pace than I was able to. Have we got the pace to see ourselves into Q3? What is the gap to Zhou Guanyu? We are a 10th up. So yeah, we do need to try and improve then as finding a little bit more through the Ascari chicane. Right now, get on that battery. You say we should be able to gain a little bit more down in towards the final corner, but we've got to make sure we get the run through. I really don't want to be out in Q1 here. So I try to go a little bit too early to the apex through that final corner. I think, though, a 10.5 up. Surely this is going to be enough to see us into Q2. P12. We are safe. Well, as we get towards the end of Q2, out for our one and only run, but Ferrari having an absolute nightmare so far. 11th and 12th place for Charles Leclerc. And we'll be joining Alonso, one of their former drivers, Hulkenberg and myself down in the drop zone here. We're going to try and save a little bit more battery on this final run in towards the first corner and hopefully make back up a bit of the time elsewhere on the lap. But ultimately, yeah, I really don't think that we are going to see Q3 here. The likes of Kick Sauber and Williams. This is a happy hunting ground for both of those teams here at Monza. So they've had an absolute disaster. I think Hulkenberg's only set like a 120.9, so surely we're going to be able to go quicker than him. But are we going to upset Ferrari even more by getting ahead of them here at the final corner up towards the line? Drain the battery. 19.8, we squeeze into Q3. Well, there we go then. Big shocker at the end of qualifying there. Alex Albon, he genuinely is in the fight for pole here, as Logan Sargent will make it through. But Hamilton, Leclerc, Sainz and Alonso. Funnily enough, I believe that's the 4 drivers outside of Red Bull that have won a race this season. Hamilton, of course, winning the sprint in Austria. All out in Q2. Alongside Nico Hulkenberg. And again, we've only got one set of tyres, so we're going to go out for one run late on in Q3. I mean, if we go any higher than 10th, I'll be shocked, because Sargent and Zhou both on a 119.5, so we need about another 3 more tenths from what we're able to find there in Q2. Again, want to be even more conservative with the battery. It seems to be working for us. You can get a lot of speed out of the car just by using the DRS. Braking maybe just a little bit too early there, down in towards someone. Bobble over that curb. You can get on the throttle so early on the exit. You really just fire off of the chicanes here. So much fun. See those, we make our way up the hill, actually struggling to even get the thing into 8th gear. Making our way down in towards the final couple of corners, 10.5 up on Alex Albon, but this is normally now where we lose a little bit of time. I'll be happy if we just don't bottle this lap, to be honest, because we have done so many times so far this season, seemingly whenever we make it into Q3. Through the final corner though, clip the apex, ride the battery on the exit. Car wants to bottom out on the outside there. It's felt like a really hooked up lap though. It is going to be a 19.5. We go P7. Well, there we go. Less than 4 tenths off of pole in the end there. Unfortunately for Alex Albon, he looked like the one backmarker that could really kind of rustle the feathers of the top boys. But it is George Russell who lines up on pole here at the Temple of Speed. Oscar Piastri, Lando, Norris locking out row 2 behind Max Verstappen. But I think that's our best ever qualifying in this series.
The third permanent circuit built anywhere on Earth. Monza has always been special. Now it's been providing motor racing memories for a century. Welcome to the Italian Grand Prix. This place is all about speed. It is a unique challenge. You've got the chicane at turn 1, the Variante Ascari at turns 8, 9 and 10, and the Parabolica to conclude things at 11. Top speeds pushing 215 miles per hour. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. George Russell will begin today's event in pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Oscar Piastri, Norris, Perez, Albon, Mr. Monaco, Bottas, Sargent, Joe, Hamilton, Leclerc, Sainz, Fernando Alonso, Hulkenberg, Stroll, Ricciardo, Gasly, Tsunoda, and Esteban Ocon lines up at the back of the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today.
We just missed out on points last race, so let's see if we can bring some home today.
That's fair enough. Yeah, we did only get, obviously, P11 last weekend in Zandvoort. Unfortunately, Hamilton's front wing damage late on in the day meant that we couldn't get up to him and the points. Of course, we were kind of very distracted by the fact Fernando Alonso was able to win a Grand Prix for the first time in over a decade. But yeah, take a look at the strategy here. It's looking like a fairly safe one-stop medium to hard. I don't really want to risk the softs if I can avoid it. But yeah, as we line up so high up the order, maybe if we can get a good start, we can try and really get in with some of the front runners here. It is 5 red lights here at the Italian Grand Prix. Oh, it's a mighty long hold, but it is finally lights out and away we go. Lando Norris getting off to a terrible start. Sergio Perez doesn't do much better as we try and use our battery to get to the outside down towards turn 1. Perez will just about spot me in the end, but in doing so, I'll have a look down the inside of the Australian there. Plenty of wheel banging as I've been turned in on by Lando Norris through the corner. Everyone seemingly wanted to try and get a jump on each other, so we will provide the kick salver of Valtteri Bottas with a little bit of slipstream as we make our way up the hill. Where has that straight line speed come? For Lando, though, as Bottas again trying to have a look around the outside there. Even more wheel banging between the 3 of us, but somehow we have come out on top in this very early situation. What's worrying me, though, we're halfway around lap 1, and already we've lost the DRS off of those cars in front, so want to try and get back with them if possible here early on, as of course Max Verstappen has stormed to the lead of the Grand Prix on the opening lap. George Russell, though, doesn't want to make it easy for him. Has seen so many other drivers win races recently. I'm sure George would love to add himself to that list as well here. But as we make our way then out onto the back straight. Oh, here we go. Russell to the outside, down in towards the Alboreto curve. Is he going to be able to make it happen? Unfortunately, there's a barrier in the way, so we can't quite see. Unfortunately, no, he's not. Verstappen will lead at the end of lap 1.
DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the...
Oh, no. Oh, no. What on earth is that? 3 wide as they make their way back down towards turn 1. Oscar Piastri, I think, has come together with Max Verstappen. And, of course, suddenly then, after that, they're 3 wide behind him on the exit of the corner. Clearly, F124 has not lost the ridiculous magic of the Italian GP inside these games. We're now going to try and get involved there. 3 wide as we make our way up in towards the middle chicane. Somehow it's Perez that comes out on top in the middle. And well, now we're up into P4 then. After 2 laps in a row, we've gone side by side with the McLaren. And 2 laps in a row, we have come out on top. Oh, here we go. George Russell down the inside of Verstappen again in towards the final corner. Interestingly, I've noticed the Brit is actually on a set of the medium tyres there. So interesting strategy choice by Mercedes here, especially with that pole position.
That was the fastest lap of the race so far.
New fast lap of the day for us. Is look at that. We're going to go one way of one Red Bull down the outside of the other. In towards turn 1. 3 wide for the lead of the Grand Prix. Oh, get the elbows out there with Verstappen on the exit. And I was not expecting to do that in that moment. But we are through and into the lead here. That must have looked absolutely ridiculous from Perez's point of view, because I did literally just get across his nose before we were going to get boxed in by those other cars. But this thing, when you get it in a slipstream, is like a pocket rocket. Here comes Verstappen again, though. There's not really much point in trying to defend from the Dutchman. Gonna have so much more speed than me. There goes Russell as well, down the inside in towards turn 1. I mean, yeah, Verstappen, he's willing to try and put it all on the line there to defend. Even more contact between the Merc and the Red Bull. Where have we seen that before? Down in towards the first chicane here as Verstappen slow on the exit. We will try and capitalise there. Thank you very much.
Be more careful about where and when we use ERS, and let's try and be consistent as you use it moving forward.
Russell, for some reason, going a little bit defensive. That'll box Max Verstappen in, or a little bit of contact. But we hang on to P2. I guess the other good thing is, behind those McLarens, I think P7 onwards, have all bunched up, but they're out of the DRS. Well, I've said it before here, but I really wish the game would actually kind of, you know, have realistic effects for the slipstream round here. Obviously, you see in IRL Formula 1, the Italian Grand Prix in recent years actually isn't so crazy because, obviously, all the teams are running such low downforce anyway, so you don't get as much kind of effect from the dirty air. But obviously, inside the F1 game, it's just one flat thing throughout the entire calendar, which is a bit of a shame. I would love to see, you know, kind of custom parts for different weekends. Well, interestingly, actually, Perez and Verstappen still battling behind. Russell and I have been able to get out of the DRS range here. Could this be really, really useful for us? If Russell can get past me back down towards turn 1, which of course he can't, we end up side by side. Yeah, if we could just work together and build up a DRS window, that would be very, very handy. Well, I've got no qualms in letting George Russell by at the moment, as long as he does get on with it here. You can see he pulls alongside us and then backs out early. Not really sure why, he just keeps doing it, and it's not really allowing us to break free. Here he goes. Come on, George Russell. Surely in the slipstream, DRS, everything. Going to be able to get a run on me down towards turn 1. This time round he does.
Going to start losing some tyre grip anytime now. We're leading the car behind by 1.8 seconds.
What are the tyre temperatures do around here? Okay, so we're really struggling on those left-hand side tyres. Luckily, though, this is Monza, so they haven't actually got to do a lot of turning. Oh, I'm not trying to fight you, George. Just stay on the racing line. Oh, we've got so much speed when we use the battery, though. Down the inside of Russell again. We'll even move back over to the racing line. All we're trying to do is just get Perez back out, as it looks like Piastri's made the move on Verstappen. This race is not working for Max Verstappen right now. And George Russell again will make the move back past me, back down towards turn 1. He seems now to be a little bit more comfortable in getting fully past us. But I don't really mind as if Perez hangs with us too. So yeah, I'm just more worried about Verstappen and those McLarens. Oh, I'm just happy to sit behind... Oh, what's that? Oh, I'm just happy to sit behind Russell at the moment. Clearly Perez has got very, very different ideas. We're just going to back out of it entirely there. I think Verstappen now has got away from Piastri, so we've got to be really, really careful now with these guys battling. It does seem like, well, with the exception of kind of 7th onwards, the top group breaking up.
Now that you're in the wake of the car ahead, try to get past as soon as possible.
I'm experiencing understeer, Mark, because the tyre temperature on this game is impossible to regulate. Yeah, another big run this time round as Russell's going to lose 2 places perhaps down in towards turn 1. And then immediately try and win them both back. I mean, this is just so ridiculous. Perez will get through to the lead of the Grand Prix. I guess we are still pulling away from Verstappen. The AI on this game, though, artificial. Definitely. Intelligent. Yeah. As here we go. Russell again to the outside. Is he going to be able to make it happen? Why? Just... Oh, don't let Perez now get away, George. Oh, Russell again. He seems to be able to get much better runs on Perez than vice versa. I think Sergio now really starting to struggle with his tyres as we get towards the end of this first stint. I mean, we've not really got much choice. We have to box with Checo here. Let's look at the run we've got. I mean, that is just ridiculous, isn't it? The AI can sort of slowly move past each other or myself. We have got an unfathomable amount of speed in towards turn 1. Tyre warning lights just flashed up, so now is going to be the time we are going to call it into the pits. It's the only problem I've got. Now I'm ahead of Sergio. I don't quite know when he actually intends on boxing in this Grand Prix, but I can't imagine it is going to be too far away from this lap. These could be critical laps in this Grand Prix. Kind of working out who sits where as Perez stays out. We could have very easily... We almost got the target time whilst pitting, which is rather impressive inside F124, but yeah, as we make our way down in towards our box then, hopefully Haas can give me a tidy one.
Okay, let's go now. Come on. Perfect job on the turn in there, mate. Looks like a nice stop time. We're happy with that one.
Well, I honestly thought they were really, really slow getting off the front right, but they got away with it.
Let's go.
5, 6, 7 seconds to Daniel Ricciardo. Hopefully we don't close in on him before the rest of the AI box. There we go, Checo Perez into the pit lane, as well as I'm sure most of our other medium compound runners. I think Lando and Max either got held up in the pits or had front wing damage, because they both lost a good 6 seconds through the pit window there. The Hulkmeister into the pit lane as well then, so where are we going to re-emerge relative to Sergio Perez? I think we're going to be out ahead of him, and actually quite decently. So I think Checo as well has been held up in the pit lane here. We've just got Hamilton, Sargent, and Russell out still. One of those is not like the others. Sargent then is going to peel into the pit lane at the end of 14, so... Logan Sargent, the tyre whisperer, apparently, in this year's game. We got 21 seconds to Russell, though, up the road. Sergio Perez, he might not ever close back in either. So our race might literally just be with that Merc. There we go, Hamilton then giving the first pit stop down at Merc. Maybe just using him to make sure the mechanics are ready for George Russell. Yeah, there we go. We achieved the objective time as well, and we're taking a lot of time out of George. I mean, he's going to be fast towards the end of this race, but we might have a little bit of breathing room at the front of the field. There we go, George into the pit, so we are hopefully about to emerge in the lead of the Grand Prix. He is going to be fast, though, towards the end of the afternoon. They're actually going to be comfortably out ahead of him. I think he's going to end up behind Sergio Perez here, so I've really got no idea how this has happened.
16.9 seconds.
Look at that. Hulkenberg I think Hulkenberg might be in the points here as well. But we've ended up with a 5-second lead here in Monza by pure luck. Everyone else seems to have been held up in the pit lane, so one of the perks of being a Haas driver is obviously your pit lane is right down the far end because they did badly in 2023. But are we about to convert this into our second victory of the season? Oh, I've never thought I'd see the day. Logan Sargent.
The fastest lap of the race so far.
Oh, that is so funny. So funny. Logan Sargent might actually get a bonus point here for fastest lap. But, yeah, I mean, Perez can't do anything. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Monza is easily the most broken track to race against AI, it feels like, inside the F1 games, just because their setups are terrible, and their battery usage is completely out of whack as well. Russell might get close by the end of this, or he'll battle with Perez, and then basically just be confined to fighting each other for P2. I'm not going to knock it, because at the end of the day, a race win's a race win, but it is unbelievably stupid. Well, are we going to see George Russell then make the move on Sergio Perez? It doesn't look like he has this time. Just see there, they're both starting to lose a bit more time here towards the end of the Grand Prix. Perez, I think, has held on, but Russell trying to look around the outside. Look at that. They've cost each other close to another second as well. I mean, Russell needs to get past him and needs to get on with it if he wants to try and close in on me by the end of the day. We are genuinely, this is basically just a cruise at the moment in the final 5 laps here at Monza. Come on, surely Russell gets a run down this back straight. Surely now he's going to be able to put Sergio Perez and get past him for good. He's going to get down the inside. The AI like to break early, though, on the inside into Ascari. And that's exactly what he's done. So stupid. Russell might actually be making the move stick now then as they go side by side again down in towards turn 1. 5 laps to go with the Italian Grand Prix, and I think Russell has finally made it happen. Nope, of course not. He's doing the same thing every single lap. He'll get the run down in towards Ascari.
Loads of DRS in reserve, so let's have a big push and use it all up.
Yep, he can do that towards the end. Yeah, he'll get the run down in towards Ascari, then back out of it on the inside. Perez will hang on to position. He'll then go round the outside of Checo into Parabolica, give Sergio the DRS, and then still not complete the move.
Really good job on hitting that target, mate.
That's got to be up there as one of the quickest goal completions I've ever done as well on this game. I know I give F124 some stick, but this has been a problem on the F1 games for years there. Is he finally going to make it happen? I think he has. He went to the outside of Checo that time round. But yeah, this has been a problem around Monza for years gone by. I genuinely don't think I've had it this perfectly, though, where the AI have all, you know, kind of the front runners have all been absolutely screwed over in the pit lane. But I guess that's because of the way they all clump together? I don't really know. 4 laps to go. I mean, Leclerc's somehow been able to move his way through and break free from that whole group. He might even get close to Russell and Perez by the end with how much they're still fighting. Well, as we round the corner then to start the final lap here at the Italian Grand Prix, this place has given us plenty of surprise winners in recent years. from Sebastian Vettel in 2008 to Pierre Gasly and Daniel Ricciardo in 2020 and 2021 respectively. Yeah, this place certainly gives the minnows a bit of an opportunity to stretch their legs. And well, today,
Teammate behind, 33.0 seconds.
that's so ridiculous how much time the AI have lost in the second half of this Grand Prix. But honestly, looking on the mini-map, it's actually been Max Verstappen's fault, the way all this has worked out. Because he's still the one causing an almighty train here on the final lap of this GP. I knew after Canada that this track was hopefully going to be another strong one for us, where hopefully we could try and pick up some points. But honestly, with just the kind of way things have worked out, on the one hand, yes, we've just simply been very lucky. Everyone else got tripped over by lap traffic, and we've been able to make it work. On the other hand, the AI desperately need a rework around this circuit as well. We're on 108 AI. How on earth am I winning this Grand Prix by nearly 15 seconds over anybody else here? But down in towards the final corner, it is not going to be Ferrari that win at the Temple of Speed, but it is going to be one of their cars' powered units around this circuit. At the final corner, we are going to win for the second time in this series.
Yes, guys, yes! Come on, boys!
There it is then, victory in the Italian Grand Prix. A historic race and an achievement they can be immensely proud of.
They had to be decisive with their overtaking today as they worked their way through the field. And those kind of race victories are so enjoyable because it's not just like winning from the front. They really had to work for it today.
Haas are no doubt happy with today's performance, having secured the win this weekend. And our drivers are making their way out for the podium celebrations as we speak.
Well, there we go then. It is P1 here at the Italian Grand Prix. Ahead of Perez and Russell there, Leclerc, Piastri, Albon and Zhou Guanyu. 7 cars from 7 different teams making up our top 7 come the end of the day there. And Norris and Hamilton even beat out Verstappen, so only 10th place for the Dutchman. It's been a while since he last won a race in this series. I'm sure we'll see him win again, surely, before the end of this first season there. Hulkenberg in 11th ahead of Sargent with that fastest lap, so I think that's season best results even for both of those drivers as well there. And yes, Sainz unable to make his way through the pack there. The same for Stroll and Alonso as well. And Bottas getting it all wrong today. 8th on the grid to 17th place come the checkered flag there. That means in terms of the Drivers' Championship, well, Verstappen, his gap at the top has been cut down to 173 points. I believe there's 232 available still between now and the end of the year there. Sainz still ahead of Alonso, though. Leclerc gets back within 1 point of the second Spaniard there. And yeah, it looks like Russell and Perez could also be locked into battle between now and the end of the year. I think we need another couple of big results to hassle Oscar Piastri, but you never quite know what's going to go on late on in this series there. And still Alpine yet to score a point as well. But yeah, on the weekend we announced that we were going to be halting progress on this year's car. Safe to say we did pretty well. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns ready for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.